The budget enthusiast. Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your boy, the budget enthusiast, and today, we're gonna talk about Spider-Man: No Way Home. Okay, so just to give you guys a little bit of history on me and Spidey. So I read my very first Spider-Man comic book, probably it was like the early 90s, maybe 91, 92. So that means I was probably around 9, 10 years old. And I remember I was a huge DC comic. Like I had Batman stuff, The Flash. Like I have pictures of me as a little kid with the little Shazam shirt on and stuff. Dude, I was all about DC when I was a little teeny dude. When I hit 10 and I got that first comic book, and I went and grabbed one, and it was a Spider-Man one. You know, I grabbed Spider-Man. It was like X-Men and some other random comics, and I read that very first Spider-Man one, and like I was hooked. I was like, yo, this dude is a regular dude. He's a regular dude. He's a kid like me trying to do things out here in these streets. It was awesome. And ever since then, I've been hooked. I have so many different Spider-Man things, so many like books and magazines and things related to Spider-Man, movies, anything that you could think of. I probably have something Spider-Man related in that. So coming into this, seeing the trailers and seeing what the Marvel Studios has done with Spider-Man so far, I was pretty excited because I really enjoyed everything from Civil War on up to this point in time right here. Spidey to me has been represented pretty well. I mean, sure, they wanted him to be the next Tony Stark. Okay, that's fine. But coming into this movie, I knew it was going to be dope. My 3 favorite superheroes of all time are Spider-Man, Daredevil, and Doctor Strange. And man, they did my boy Spidey so good. So I'm gonna tell you this right now. There are gonna be some spoilers in this here. So I cannot do this review without talking about stuff in the movie. Like normally I'm super vague, but I can't be vague because there's so many big reveals and so many big things going on in this movie that if I talk about it at all, it has to be, it just has to be this. So sorry if I'm messing things up for all of y'all, but we got to get into it. So first off, the aesthetic of this movie. Now, John Watts directed this movie. He directed the other Spider-Man movies too, the other MCU Spider-Man movies, I should say. And while Far From Home had a really nice aesthetic because Mysterio was there and all the elementals and all that stuff, that was cool. But there was something about this one that I just liked the way it looked. The cinematography it's round about the same. Usually they keep Marvel movies kind of on the same plane as far as like the way it looks and stuff. Doctor Strange is one of the only ones that does like mind-bending stuff, but for the most part it's a beautiful, beautiful looking movie, and it's got my boy Doctor Strange in it. Doctor Strange is my man, yo. Like I said, Spider-Man, Daredevil, and Doctor Strange. Now, a major spoiler coming up. I want to talk about a specific scene real quick. So, after everybody was talking, everybody knows who Parker is now. Like, they know he's Spider-Man, so the chaos is happening. So, his life is in shambles, pretty much. So, there's a scene where Spider-Man needs a lawyer, of course. And guess who the daggone lawyer is, man? It's my boy, Daredevil Matt Murdock, bro. Like, I heard rumors about this. I try not to listen to rumors and stuff before this movie came out. So Like, I heard that Charlie Cox was revising his role as Daredevil, but we didn't know in what capacity. Bruh, let me tell you this right now. Let me tell you this right now. I almost exploded when I actually got to see him on the screen. And like, we all knew who he was. Like, if you've seen the Daredevil show on Netflix, you know who he is. So when he was there was no hiding who he was representing. And there's this during that same scene where Charlie Cox was Daredevil, he somebody threw a brick through Parker's window, and he caught it. Like, it freaked everybody out because he's blind, and he caught it, and everybody was like, "Yo, how in the world did you do that? I don't know." And it just, man, it warmed my heart. So we already have Spider-Man and Doctor Strange in this movie teaming up, sort of, to solve some issues and create issues, actually. And then we have my man Daredevil make a guest appearance in this thing. Like, you cannot tell me this movie was not made with me in mind. Like, I know it wasn't, but it was, all at the same time. Like, where do you get those three? You can only get that in here or in the comics. So great. So, moving on. So there are a couple things that I do want to talk about in this review here. One of them is very heavy, and it is the death of Aunt May. And like I said, there are going to be spoilers in this. I said it before, I'm saying it again. So this is a spoiler-filled thing. And I'm going to be jumping around because this is not scripted. So these are just thoughts coming off the top of my head. So Aunt May's death. Dude, Aunt May's death hurt me so bad. Like, Uncle Ben in the previous Spider-Man movies and in the comics and stuff, that hurt. But it was something about this Aunt May. Maybe because I didn't expect it. I didn't think they were going to kill off Marissa Tomei. Like, I didn't think they were going to do that. Like, who kills her off? You know what I'm saying? I thought Aunt May was going to be here to stay. But this, I understand why. This is going to give Parker motivation. Like, he hasn't lost anybody major in his two previous movies. He hasn't. The other Parkers, which you will hear about later on, they all have lost people. So we have Gwen Stacy from The Amazing Spider-Man. She died. And also his Uncle Ben. And, well, dude doesn't even know who his parents are. So that was his whole thing in Amazing Spider-Man. And then the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, the Sam Raimi ones, he lost Uncle Ben. So we all have that. We all have seen that crying meme of Tobey Maguire crying over Uncle Ben. People have seen that all over. So we have these things going on. Our Parker, Tom Holland Parker, he hasn't lost anybody yet. So this was a major, major loss. Like, this thing hurt. Like, that whole scene hurt. I didn't feel that way about Uncle Ben. I guess I kind of knew it was going to happen. But, well, actually, I did know it was going to happen because it happens in the comics. So, dude, when Aunt May died, bro, I was so hurt. And just the utter chaos that happens, man, the release of all of these villains. Now, as far as Spider-Man villains go, Doc Ock is one of my personal favorites. He's probably up there as, like, the man to me as far as Spider-Man villains go. So to see him come back in such great detail, like, the writers of this film and the director, John Watts, they must really love Spider-Man. Like, you can just feel the love for this character. And they did him so well, and they brought in all the other Spider-Man in here. So since Parker wanted to cast a spell, he went to Doctor Strange to see if he could cast a spell to make people forget that he was Spider-Man. You'll see that part in the trailer. But what you don't see is the little minute details that happen to cause the spell to go all haywire, right? So things happen. It unleashes people from other worlds, like other Spider-Man villains. So he made it so that everybody knows that he's Peter Parker instead of no one knows that he's Peter Parker. And now all these other Spider-Man villains from the past and in other dimensions and worlds come to our world. Well, Tom Holland Spider-Man's world. So seeing Doc Ock on that bridge, bro, and seeing one of my favorite supervillains of all time in the Spider-Man universe face off against the Tom Holland MCU Spider-Man, yo, it gave me freaking goosebumps, man. Like, no joke. No joke. And during that fight, it was, of course, usually the Marvel movies have really well choreographed fights. Like, they just always look good to me, and this was no exception. It was phenomenal, bruh. Like, that fight on the bridge, and Parker had to save the lady in the car. Oh my God, man. He saved the family. Like seriously, I'm not sure if everybody understands the level, unless you've seen it, the level of detail and care that they took with these characters. They brought back Sandman and Electro. So Sandman, the cool thing about him, he had the same attitude he had, and like they kept everybody's personalities the same. They didn't change anybody, and I love it. The only person that they changed was Jamie Foxx. He played Electro in Amazing Spider-Man 2, and they changed him up, but they only changed his look, not necessarily his attitude towards things and towards Spider-Man. They just changed his look to give him, since he's in a different world, they kind of changed just almost everybody's look. Because like Sandman, he didn't really change back, you know, from Flint Marco into Sand. He stayed Sand. And Doc Ock, he had the younger look. It's things change when you go through dimensions and things like that. So the personalities remain the same, and it was absolutely amazing. Like Doc Ock and his, like they use almost man, it's like they just plucked them right from the movies and brought them in here, and that's the wonders and beauty of movie magic, that they can do that. Green Goblin came back, Norman Osborn, bruh, and he was just as vicious as ever, man. My goodness, Willem Dafoe is the best Green Goblin ever. Like, this dude, he is so ruthless, and I absolutely love it to death. Fantastic. So Spider-Man had to fight all of these villains. Now, of course, time goes on. He didn't have to fight them alone, because the other two, so that's Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, come back and reprise their roles as Spider-Man. And let me tell you, I thought the scene in Endgame, when Cap and all of them were fighting Thanos, and you hear on the comms on your left, and everybody starts to come through the portal, I thought that scene for me was one of the ultimate like comic book movie moments that made you just want to stand up and like just go off, start punching people, all that stuff. But this one right here for me might top it, when Ned ends up with the brass knuckle looking things that Doctor Strange and his crew use to open up portals. You know, they do the thing and they open up a portal. So when he does that, they're looking for Peter, and he opens one up, and there's a Spider-Man there, but it was Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, and bruh, I got hype, and he's my least favorite one. Because he was a jerk. He was a jerk in Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. He was an absolute jerk. But I got hype when I saw him, just because he is another Spider-Man. Like, he's my boy, but he's just an alternate version. And it was so dope. And the whole scene with Ned and MJ talking to this newly found Spider-Man was so dope. Like, the writing was so great. So they go to look for their Peter Parker, which is the Tom Holland Peter Parker, and he opens up another portal, and it's Tobey Maguire, and Tobey Maguire's in like regular clothes. So I'm like, oh snap, well maybe Tobey was like, I ain't got the body for it no more, so I'm not gonna wear the suit. But he does wear the suit though. He gets the suit on later. Ah, it was so hot. So just, I know I'm jumping around, but I'm just trying to help you understand how awesome this movie is. Like it gave fans exactly what they wanted. And my boy Will DeBeast pointed this out too. He said not only did they do a good job, he was like, they gave the fans what they wanted. Like some things, sometimes you get movies you know who's famous for not giving the fans what they want? Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon, he does not give any of the fans what they want. They get behind a certain person and they buy his merch and they do all this, or they buy her merch and like they want him or her to be shot to the moon. And what does Vince do? He has him lose like every single match known to man, because he hates his fans. He hates people loving a product that he didn't choose. Like if he didn't handpick them to be the next big thing, no one should be the next big thing. And it's terrible. But these folks here that wrote, directed, and put this movie together, they gave fans what they wanted. They gave us all of the villains brought back from the previous movies in their full glory. They gave us our current Spider-Man in his in his world, showing building character, becoming a man. They gave us all of the extra, like the actual Spider-Man coming from other dimensions. They gave it to us in a beautiful package. Everybody was nice and chill. Everybody was a little bit older too. You could see it on their faces. Like you could just tell they have been doing this for a long time, and it was so dope. Now, fast forwarding towards the end of the movie, when all three Spider-Man were ready to fight all of these villains that were there, and they got into a little huddle, bruh, and they were coming up with a strategy, and just to see all of them talking and like being good dudes, it was, oh god, it was so great. Like I had goosebumps pretty much the entire movie. Like just seeing Spider-Man and Doctor Strange on screen again working together, and oh, man, and it just was fantastic, y'all. It was fantastic. I know I usually don't do spoilers, but I have to do spoilers in this one, man. It was so many great things about this movie, and the visuals were good. There was like a weird sequence when like Parker was jumping from one, was it Parker? It was one of the Spider-Man was jumping from one section to another, and they were just showing him jump across the screen, and it looked kind of weird, kind of jittery. I don't know what happened. Maybe that was they got the B team to do the CG on that one. It was just a little bit odd, but it fantastic movie, man. Fantastic movie. It was just so well done. Everything about it was perfect. And I think my light just went out, y'all. I think my light over here just went out. But anyway, I'm just gonna finish this video here. I don't know what the heck just happened over there, so we're just gonna talk about this here. But bro, it was everything I wanted it to be and then some. It was visually pleasing. It had action. It had drama. It was sad. Like it had moments like it pulls on your heartstrings, bruh. I'm gonna tell you this right now. And seeing all of the villains and Spider-Man and everybody get together and just like look, like the director, I swear, they just looked at the fans and were like, you know what? This one's for you guys. And my boy Will DeBeast said it best. He said, look, if this is how fan service should be done. People use fan service as a derogatory term in some cases because they say they're just pandering to the fans. But dude, this is what it's all about. Like this gave everybody that was a fan of either the Tobey Maguire ones, the Andrew Garfield ones, or even Tom Holland. It gave us what we needed to live, bro. This was everything. This was years of Spider-Man movies rolled up nicely into one like awesome conclusion. Dude, cannot stress enough how great this movie was. I absolutely loved everything about it, man. Everything about it. And they have two in-credit scenes. One technically mid-credit and then one at the very end. The mid-credit scene had your boy Eddie Brock in it. Had your boy Eddie Brock. So it's real that they're gonna bring this Venom into the MCU and at some point. Not sure how they're gonna do it. They left us a little clue at the very end of the clip, but not sure how they're gonna do it like overall. But okay, yeah, if you saw my Venom Let There Be Carnage review, I don't like this version of Venom messing with my Tom Holland Spider-Man, but it's cool. We're gonna see. I gotta trust the MCU. They've done me right so far with all the Spider-Man stuff. So I just have to trust in them that they're gonna do the right thing and make my homeboy look good and make Venom decent in this outing. So the last credit scene, the one at the very end, that one was talking about pretty much the Doctor Strange sequel. So now that we know there's a multiverse out there, and yeah, it's getting kind of crazy out there. Stuff is coming through portals and all that stuff. So Doctor Strange is gonna need a little help. So in this clip, they show him talk to Wanda Maximoff, Scarlet Witch, for those of you who don't know her real name or whatever. But yes, they go talk to Wanda. He goes to talk to Wanda, and now we're gonna see what happens. And I think it's called the Multiverse of Madness or something like that. The second Doctor Strange movie. I probably am saying that incorrectly, but it's cool. Whatever. It's gonna be dope because the sequences in this movie that involve Doctor Strange and Spider-Man are phenomenal. And you know, Doctor Strange always has the mind-bending, weird, folding over in the mirror dimension and stuff like that. It looks like Inception. It looks like when everything starts to fold over in Inception. So, dude, excellent movie, bro. Everybody needs to go see this joint. Everybody needs to go see this. If you're a comic book fan, if you're a Spider-Man fan, if you like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, if you like Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, this is for you, bro. I'm gonna tell you this right now. Everything about this joint was on point. Phenomenal. I'm trying to go see it again. Me and my boy Will the Beast, we were like, yo, we need to immediately go see this as soon as possible. We got The Matrix coming up on Wednesday, so we got to do that. I'm excited about that one too. But this movie right now, I'm gonna be riding this high up until I go see The Matrix. Like, this movie might be my favorite one of 2021. Now, I have to see The Matrix, and then I am going to I might do either a top 10 or a top 5. I don't know, maybe a top 5 so the video won't be too long, of my favorite movies that I saw in the theater of 2021. So stay tuned for that. And hopefully, I got a new camera, y'all. So I'm hoping this looks better than it did with my cell phone. So let me know in the comments if you thought the image quality was better. I'm hoping that it is. It's a Sony. So we're gonna see how this all works out. But yes, go see this movie. It gets the budget enthusiasts 2 thumbs up. Like, dude, if I had more hands, I would give this like 1,000,000 thumbs up. Like, bro, phenomenal movie. I have to go see this again in the theaters before it leaves. It is that good. So y'all stay safe out there. Thank you for watching. Peace. The budget enthusiast. The budget enthusiast. The budget enthusiast.